everyone, a very good evening and a very warm welcome to today's session. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fine and amazingly well. Sat Shri Akal, Namaskar, Bonjour, Adab, kya haal chaal hai sabke? For everyone who's asking me how am I doing, I'm doing absolutely fine. बहुत ही बढ़िया हाल चाल है मेरे. आपके कैसे? जल्दी जल्दी से चैट में बता दीजिए और हाय भी बोल दीजिए. सो वेलकम टू द सेशन. मैं हूँ अंकना, आपकी एक्सपर्ट फॉर सोशल साइंसेज एट इम्बाइब. एंड जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं हमारा नाजिज्म का चैप्टर चल रहा है. सो क्विक इंट्रो अबाउट मी. आई हैव बीन टीचिंग फॉर मोर देन 9 years, नॉट टीचिंग एग्जैक्टली बट बीन रिलेटेड टू द एजुकेशन सेक्टर. I have an experience of teaching both online and offline. I specialize in social science and also English because that's actually my subject. So, hello. Hi Shubhra. Hi Stasha. How's everyone? Exams खत्म हो गया. अरे वाह, बहुत ही अच्छी फीलिंग आ रही होगी फिर तो, है ना. हाय स्टाशा, हाय शुभ्रा. और कौन कौन से बच्चे जल्दी से हाय बोल दो. यूट्यूब पे भी जो हमारे बच्चे हमसे जुड़े हुए हैं, आप हाय जरूर बोलिएगा सो दैट आई कैन एड्रेस यू, आई कैन से हाय बैक एट यू. एंड गाइस, टुडे आवर टॉपिक इज गोइंग टू बी द इकोनॉमिक एंड फॉरेन पॉलिसी ऑफ हिटलर. However, from the previous session we have few things left, which is कैसे dictatorship exactly start हुई, how did the dictatorship really began, because we saw that Hitler had got the chancellorship, right? He kind of became the prime minister of Germany in the setup that existed. The president had invited him. Now today we are going to explore and understand that what happens ahead. So let's get started without any further ado. बिल्कुल भी टाइम बर्बाद नहीं करना है. हिस्ट्री में बहुत सारी कहानियां होती हैं, like a lot of stories and a lot of facts and a lot of things that we explore around. So it in general consumes a lot of time. So let's get started. ठीक है, शुभ्रा के स्टार्ट नहीं हुए एग्जाम्स. ओके, वंडरफुल. So at the same time, please let your friends know that ma'am is live and we have gotten started with this session. So let's begin. So we are doing Nazism and the rise of Hitler, out of which we have finished the First World War and the birth of Weimar Republic. We have also understood how the political and economic crisis and conditions were after the war in Germany, which kind of paved the way for Hitler to rise up and people for him to accept, why people were ready to accept. Then we, in the previous session, saw rise of Hitler. Fall of democracy is what we will explore today in more detail. We kind of had a glimpse of it. ज़्यादा डिटेल में आज करेंगे and then we'll talk about the economic and foreign policy that Hitler had adopted. Okay, so the topics that we'll be covering will be economic policies, foreign policies, how he invaded Poland. So guys, this portion talks about how really the World War II started. So immediate and a very underlying cause was actions of Hitler. तो यहाँ पे हम बात करेंगे that what was the Tri-Party Act, how he attacked Soviet Union, which kind of triggered the whole thing of the World War, how it ended, what effect of the end of Second World War had on Nazi rule because it ended, what was the International Military Tribunal of Nuremberg, and then the genocidal war in Germany. ठीक है, so let's get started. By 1936, a very dark shadow had cast across entire Europe. Why? 1933 के बाद डिक्टेटरशिप जर्मनी में चालू हो जाती है and full-fledged Hitler is in his truest essence and has all the power that's possible invested in him because he has now established dictatorship. How? That we will see in a while. But then the point is that him being present, Hitler being present in Germany was not just affecting the lives of people in Germany, was not just influencing the people in Germany, but entire Europe had started suffering. He had started kind of taking the revenge of the Treaty of Versailles, of the effect of the First World War, the humiliation that he felt Germany had to go through. अब इस सब का असर पूरे यूरोप पे छाने लगेगा. The iron giant of Nazi Germany would rise, right, from the ashes of the First World War. We are referring to Hitler over here. He will take the revenge on behalf of German people of Treaty of Versailles and he will ensure the vengeance, and through aggressive moves, not in a political way, not in a diplomatic way, not in a way where he feels that, hey, we'll handle this. Adolf Hitler will build a war machine that would destroy the continent. So let's see how he unfolds the path to the deadliest war, which is going to be of World War II. तो वर्ल्ड वॉर टू कैसे अब आ जाएगा उसका रिकैप कर लेते हैं फटाफट. So during the first world war, you guys, Hitler joined the German Bavarian army as a corporal, right? He did not even fight directly. So I'll tell you what is happening. Central powers होते हैं in the first world war, which is Germany or Austria, Hungary, Ottoman Empire, all of these people. ठीक है, Bavaria हो गया आपका. Now he was actually an Austrian, so he was in the Austro-Hungary army, but then he gets himself transferred to the German army, and there he works as a messenger, and he was very, very passionate, and he was more than anything passionate for rewards, and this passion will reflect in a lot of things. He will try to reward a lot of people to get his things done, to get his way out. So in 1919 he joined the German Workers' Party. So after the war is after the war comes to an end, Germany loses, the humiliating treaty of Versailles happens. So he is going to take it very personally, and he feels कि army में क्या फायदा नहीं है. There's no point being in army. He has to do something, and for that he will have to have the political power. So he joins the German Workers' Party in 1919, but he slowly keeps on rising with his great oratory skills, with his passionate ideas, with his promises of building the economy, giving jobs to people, having a strong government, which Weimar Republic somewhere was lacking at that time, especially with the effect of the war reparation payment and the Great Depression striking. ठीक है, तो उसके बाद यही पार्टी जो है वो नेशनल सोशलिस्ट जर्मन वर्कर्स पार्टी बनती है, लेटर ऑन ऑल्सो नोन एज द नाजी पार्टी. Nazi propaganda instills hope in people because they are promising a brighter future. Then on 30th January 1933, President Hindenburg, he appoints Hitler as the Chancellor of Germany and says, fine, whatever you want, take it, because he had conspired in multiple ways to make this happen. If you remember, he was in exile because of the uprising he had for against the Weimar Republic. But after he comes back from there, he's like, okay, fine, I will take proper elected governmental power. But उसमें भी बहुत conspiracy करी थी उन्होंने. उसके बाद अचानक से एक mysterious fire break हो जाती है, ठीक है, अचानक से पार्लियामेंट में आग लग जाती है, but it clearly shows that it was definitely a conspiracy from his end only. And then he declares the fire decree, which is the rule of the fire, on 28th February of 1933, which suspends all the political and, you know, all the civic rights, so the fundamental rights and freedoms of the citizens. But citizens are not suspecting anything. They're kind of happy about it because they're thinking कि अच्छा ये World War I का maybe somebody is trying to take the revenge, Hitler is trying to protect us. But his idea was very clear. He wanted to first suspend all the rights so that nobody could ask questions, nobody could raise their voices, could do anything to help the situation. And then he will establish his dictatorship. So what happens next after the fire decree? Let's get started and understand. So guys, as we have spoken in the previous session itself, कि एक mysterious fire parliament में लग जाता है, which gives a very perfect window to Hitler. But where will the mysterious fire come from all these years? It's 1933. It's been more than 13-14 years that the First World War has ended. Why would anyone want to attack Germany now? It seems very much like it was probably Hitler's plan only. So he then declares the fire decree on 28th February of 1933. ठीक है? It bans indefinitely. See, the term that you have to focus on, it did not say that, okay, for next 3 days, for next 1 week, for next 1 month, or till we fix this. No, it clearly said all the civic rights, all the fundamental rights has to be banned from the constitution. No freedom of speech, press, assembly, all of these things we are suspending because we are concerned about the safety of our people. And then it was the perfect opportunity for him to take all the control. So after all the rights were taken away from the people, he then starts targeting his arch enemies. If you remember in the previous sessions where we spoke about the Spartacist League, I had mentioned to you that he had a list of his enemies, right? More than 50 enemies, some 52 or 54 enemies he had. Uski list bana rakhi thi. He had created a list that I am going to take the revenge from these people. Let's line it up. Okay, so he starts with the very first one, who were the communists. Why communists? A lot of students ask me, ma'am, ki communists or socialists se itni problem kyun thi? Why was he so much bothered by these people? if you see, guys, communists were talking about more freedom, more rights to people, equal distribution, nobody having any hierarchy, nobody being in power, government having the control, no private property, but people getting what they want. He was when it came to Hitler, I think all he wanted was a hierarchy, racial hierarchy bana diya. We'll talk about that eventually in the sessions. But he wants to just build hierarchy, have all the power and control in his hands, give nothing to the people, give nothing to the citizens. So the ideas of the communists is completely beyond his vision, beyond his understanding, and he hates them for it. Because whatever they stand for, whatever they express, वो बिल्कुल भी close नहीं है to what Hitler has been desiring of, right? So they were rounded up and sent to the newly built concentration camps, where they were subjected to severe brutality. तो उठा करके सबको सीधे दूर जेल में कैंप्स में भेज दिया और बहुत ज़्यादा ब्रूटल तरीके से फिर वहाँ पे उनके साथ व्यवहार किया गया था. अब आपके लिए ये क्विज क्वेश्चन है, फटाफट से इस क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर लो. The president dash offered the dash to Hitler on 30th January. Who was the president and what position was offered to him? Come on everyone. I'm waiting for people to answer. काफ़ी आसान क्वेश्चन है ये, हमने एक्चुअली किया हुआ है प्रीवियस सेशन में. एक रिविजन से शुरू कर रहे हैं. Okay. And we have Rajesh, Radhar, Stasha, Tushant, Vinodini. Wonderful. You guys have answered in perfect timing and correctly. Nagraj and Shrikant have also taken an attempt. Shubhra has also taken an attempt. Wonderful. I will wait for Pranjal and Harsh to answer. Pranjal and Harsh, please answer जरूर कर दीजिएगा. Hi अंकुश, बच्चे विक्टर एमैनुअल जर्मनी में कैसे आएंगे बच्चे? ऐसे तो विक्टर एमैनुअल का नाम हमने सुना ही नहीं है. विक्टर एमैनुअल इज समथिंग somebody you will read about in class 10th, but he is from Italy. Okay, chancellorship is correct. तो दोनों सही होना जरूरी है. Hindenburg was the president. He offered the chancellorship to Hitler, which made him control the political power henceforth, and that's how he was able to bring the fire decree. ठीक है अंकुश कुमार, clear है? Okay, now guys, repression of communists started happening. We see that out of surviving 6,808 arrest files of the Düsseldorf, a small city of 500,000 population, 1,440 were those of communists alone. तो एक जेल बनाई, उसमें लोगों को भेजना शुरू किया, ऐसा करना शुरू किया. Different files of arrests were there. So somewhat 6,800 files were there. Almost 1,500 files of these 6,800 files. I am not very good with math, I mean fast math, but अगर इसको 6,000 मानते हैं और इसको 1,500 मानते हैं, तो it's like 1/4, है ना? तो आप ऐसा कह सकते हो कि 2/5 of the files, right? 2/5, almost like 20%, 30% of the files belong to the communists alone of all the people who were arrested, right? Hi Sham, hi Shrikant, hello bachche. So they were, however, only among the 52 types of victims. So 52 people ka list Hitler had. So out of those 52, they were just one type. Abhi 51 were remaining that he was supposed to get back at. Anyways, so he gets the power. Now you look at the dates. If you remember, I told you 28th of February. Kab aaya tha? 28th of February is when the fire decree was declared. ठीक है? Which suspended the rights of the citizens. Now you see, not even 1 week has gone by. 3rd March को he comes with the famous, or we should rather say infamous, Enabling Act. तो अभी 28 तारीख को ये किया, and within next 4-5 days he was very clear of what he wanted to do. He brought the most infamous, the worst act ever possible in history of humanity, the Enabling Act. Enabling Act क्या था? It did not enable anybody. It only enabled Hitler to be what? To be the dictator. So with this Enabling Act, what did he do? He became the dictator and destroyed democracy. Very clearly, very easily, he was able to destroy with the 3rd March 1933 Enabling Act democracy in Germany and enable himself as a dictator. So it granted complete authority. आप देख रहे हो, और ये एक्ट ऑब्वियसली किसी की मर्जी से नहीं निकाला है, खुद से निकाला है. He has done it all by himself. He has decided that this is what he wants to do, right? Hi Solo Buddy, good evening, welcome to the session. So now he decides that fine, with this act I declare myself as a dictator, which means everything, every rule, regulation, whatever happens in the country is going to be directly in my control. I am the dictator. There is no democracy, there is no parliament, there is nothing. I disregard everyone and every rule and regulation. There is only one rule, that is me. मैं जो बोलूँगा वही होगा, मैं जो बोलूँगा वही सरकार है, वही रूल है, वही लॉ है. So that with that he grants complete authority to himself, that no rule, no parliament, except for the Nazi party and their allies, all the parties and trade unions were also outlawed, which means they were declared as illegal. आप देख रहे हो क्या बोल रहा है ये बंदा? ये कह रहा है कि अब देखो ऐसा है कि मैं तो हूँ सिर्फ जो हूँ, उसके अलावा कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बनाने की कोशिश करता है, कोई किसी तरह का यूनियन बनाने की कोशिश करता है. Anybody wants to try and establish themselves as a union. यूनियन का काम क्या होता है? What does a union do? Hi Yashashwini, long time no see. Hi Ankur, good evening. Hi Varun, very warm welcome to the session. So with the when union क्या करती है? What unions are supposed to do is, there might be a particular genre like farmers, workers, traders. They form a group, they form a union, so that when together they work, they become stronger. कहते हैं ना कि united stronger you stand. And then when you raise your voice, everybody is on the same page and everybody's demand is presented together. तो क्या होता है कि मना करना मुश्किल होता है. But that is somewhat a party being formed. So he said political party हो, कोई दूसरी party हो, anything which can challenge him, his ideas, his words will not be entertained. Everything else is illegal. Whatever he says, whatever he does is only going to be correct and acceptable and legal, right? Yashashwini, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you so much for asking. Hi Varshani VL, welcome to the session. So guys, the government controlled the economy, media, army and courts. So you can see no division of power is there. How we have a legislature, executive and judiciary, right? Judiciary में court आता है, court protect करता है कि किसी ने law break किया है तो will punish them. Lawmakers are the legislative, and then there are different people to execute it. And media is said to be the 4th pillar of democracy, because when media is not under the control of democracy, under the government, they are independent, they raise their voices, they bring out the problems in the government, they ask questions, they bring news to the people, open their eyes. Everything over here is now being controlled by Hitler himself, which means everything will be as he wants, manipulated, brainwashing people, लोगों को धोखा देते हुए, manipulate करते हुए, सब अपने हिसाब से. कोई question नहीं पूछेगा. Media usually questions the government, right? Brings such newses which will open the eyes of the people, make them aware. उनको पता लगाती है लोगों को, जनता को पता चलता है कि अरे सरकार ऐसा कर रही है तो हम आवाज उठाएंगे, सरकार को दोबारा नहीं लाएंगे. But when everything is under the control of the government, nothing can go against them, nothing can go wrong. So that's what he does. He starts controlling everything. Everything was now with him and about him. So with that note, guys, let's quickly answer the question that on 3rd March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed in Germany. Is this true or is this false? सो दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन. अभी अभी हमने किया है, आपको सिर्फ ट्रू या फॉल्स में बताना है. सो आई एम नॉट गोना वेट फॉर मोर देन 15 सेकेंड्स फॉर यू गाइज टू आंसर दिस. ठीक है, 15 सेकेंड लीजिए और इसका जवाब दे दीजिए. काफी आसान है ये सवाल. Yashashwini, we heard the request that the students were sending, so we understood the problem you guys were facing. आपको thank you बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. This is what we are here for, to bring for you guys. Okay. तो राजेश, यशस्विनी, सशा, नागराज, विनोदिनी ने जवाब दिया है. It shows that आपने थोड़ा सा ज्यादा टाइम लिया है, बट सही जवाब दिया है. तो शंत has answered absolutely correct in perfect timing. So kudos to you. And I am waiting for Ankur, Dharunesh, Pranjal and Harsh to answer. Shubhra has also answered absolutely correct in perfect timing. Sham has also answered correctly. Okay guys, तो आप देख लेते हैं करेक्ट आंसर. ये स्टेटमेंट जो है वो क्या है? ये स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है. The dates and the information and the name of the act is absolutely correct. This is the act which destroyed democracy, suspended all the fire decrees से suspend हुआ था वैसे, but made him the dictator and gave him all the rights to disregard parliament and various things. Okay, now Hitler, we have understood that how much he's a control freak. So you can make sense of it, right? He wants everything to be belonging to him, everything to be under his control. So when he does take up as a dictator, he's constantly afraid, he's a little fanatic, he's a little suspicious, keeps on questioning, keeps on wondering कि यार मेरे अगेंस्ट कुछ कॉन्स्पिरेसी तो नहीं हो रही है? Is somebody conspiring against me? Are people speaking against me? Anything? And he wants everyone to just praise him. Nobody raising their voices against him. Nobody talking against him. मतलब सिर्फ मेरी बड़ाई करे, कुछ गलत ना बोले. And if anyone decides to do that, he would punish them. But the point is, as citizen, let's say I am doing something against Hitler. ठीक है कि I will put up a banner tomorrow over there. It will say that Hitler is a dictator, destroyer of democracy. तो मैं secretly plan करूँगी. I'll secretly plan it with my people, with the people who will help me out. In order to make sure that nothing goes wrong, nothing of this sort happens, you know what he used to do? He used to have secret police that people were not even aware of. Regular police was there. Regular police to thi hi, wo bhi was under control of Hitler. There used to be secret police as well. Everybody was under surveillance. Everybody was being watched. Everything you do, what work you do, who do you talk to, what do you talk about, are you saying anything against Hitler, are you planning anything against Hitler, are you in his favor? हर एक चीज पे सर्वेलेंस रखा जाता था. एंड दैट टू बैक एट दैट टाइम. सी हैविंग सर्वेलेंस इन टुडेज डेट इज नॉट एज डिफिकल्ट विद सो मच ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजीज. हर जगह कैमराज हैं, यू हैव फोन्स एंड व्हाट नॉट. योर एक्टिविटीज कैन बी मॉनिटर्ड फ्रॉम द इंटरनेट एंड योर यूजेज ऑफ इंटरनेट. बट बैक एट दैट टाइम इट वॉज वेरी डिफिकल्ट एंड ही स्टिल यूज टू मेक श्योर दैट पीपल आर वॉच्ड एंड एनीबडी इज डूइंग एनीथिंग अगेंस्ट हिम आर पनिश्ड. कि कोई मेरे अगेंस्ट खड़ा हुआ उसकी मुझे बैंड बजानी है. वेरी क्लियर. So he created special intelligence and security forces इस चीज को मैनेज करने के लिए, to manage the society and the people however he wanted, apart from already existing regular police in a green uniform. ठीक है, तो प्रॉपर एक नया सिस्टम ही क्रिएट कर दिया. एंड द एसए और द storm troopers, these included the Gestapo, secret state police, and the SS, the protection squads, criminal police and the security service SD. तो ये सब जो है ये जर्मन इनिशियल्स के हिसाब से शॉर्ट किया है. इंग्लिश में यहाँ पे वी हैव रिटन द नेम. ठीक है, लव फॉर राधे कृष्णा, हेलो, वेलकम टू द सेशन, गुड इवनिंग. तो गाइज अब हमें क्या समझ आ रहा है? रेगुलर पुलिस वाज ऑलरेडी देयर बट ही स्टार्टेड स्पेशल इंटेलिजेंस. Somebody is monitoring the people, somebody is monitoring somebody else, somebody is monitoring somebody else. ऐसा करके proper police was created. So the regime's reputation is as the most feared criminal state was due to these newly organized forces and their extra constitutional powers. So what do we understand? When we think that how did people not rise against him? Why did people not protest? आप देखो कि आप इससे पहले कि आप शुरू कर सको, how does protest or you know any uprising happen? Different people with the ideas of being against the government, they meet, they rise up to the occasion, they decide that okay, this day we are going to have a protest, this day we are going to have an uprising, this day we are going to have a seizure, whatever people want to do. But for that, for people to get together, meet, talk is important. This government was so feared. People were not able to protest. People were not able to come out and express. Why was that happening? Because of so many forces. As an individual, if you even give a thought to it, you would be so afraid that what will the police do to me if I get caught, that nobody would have the strength and the courage to maybe even initiate. शुरू करने की हिम्मत ही नहीं होती थी. इतना डरा धमका कर कितने पुलिस वालों को सर पे बैठा करके रखा हुआ था. So Nazi regime की reputation इसी वजह से ऐसी बनी, because they had so many police officers and troops that everyone was constantly aware that they are being watched. मैं कुछ कर रही हूँ उनको पता है. Whatever I am doing, they know, which means it's better not to do anything, because as an individual when I start, देखो जब group होता है, when there's a group, you get strength from your people. एंड अपने कॉमरेड से आपको स्ट्रेंथ मिलती है, अपने कलीग से आपको स्ट्रेंथ मिलती है, आपके साथ जब कोई किसी चीज़ में आता है तो आपको ताकत मिलती है, यू गेट इंस्पिरेशन. When you're alone, it's more scary. So before people could turn into a group, have that courage, have that strength, as an individual itself, at an individual level itself, they were really, really afraid and scared of. So if people did decide कि अच्छा ठीक है नहीं, despite of that, there were people who were really, very, very courageous, not afraid, fearless, wanted to do the right thing. Even if ever such people would come up, the Gestapo, the special police, they would arrest them, उनको उठाकर deport कर देते थे. They would maybe send them out of the country. If they were from other country, would send them back, would torture them in cells, ले जा करके isolation में डाल दिया, would imprison them, arrest them even without following the law, because they were granted immense power, constitutionally additional power दिया हुआ था. By law, these people were very, very powerful. No rules, regulations they had to follow. Even the police forces acquired powers to rule the license to do whatever they liked. So if they felt, hey, this is the rule we want, they would just go and get it for themselves and then start practicing it. So you can understand, when there is no restriction, no limitation for the police, it becomes really, really scary for the citizens in that case and that scenario. And that's exactly what had happened over here. So question is, what was the Gestapo? Nazi secret police, a youth organization, the only political party that he did not abolish, Hitler, or the stormtroopers. Gestapo के बारे में पूछा गया है तो ध्यान से चूज करिएगा, okay? Love of Radhe Krishna, but I used to wear my spectacles. Now I wear lenses. That's why probably you feel that I look different. But I pretty much look the same. I do wear my glasses sometimes. Okay, so we have Rajesh, Shubhra, Stasha, Tushant. Good job, answered correctly in perfect timing. Harsh and Nagraj have also answered correctly. Good job, you guys. Pranjal has taken an attempt. Not bad. The correct answer is they were the secret police. ठीक है, वो क्या थे? सीक्रेट पुलिस थे. तो इनके अलावा भी और भी पुलिस थी, आपको आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए आ सकता है. सो इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर इफ यू आर अवेयर ऑफ हु द डिफरेंट पुलिसेस वर. सॉरी, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हो, ऐसे वर द स्टॉर्म ट्रूपर्स. ठीक है, गस्तापो द सीक्रेट स्टेट पुलिस, एसएस द प्रोटेक्शन स्क्वाड फॉर नाजी idea, Hitler, and then there were criminal police, and then there was security service as well. तो ऐसे करके हमें याद रखना है. ठीक है, that's how we have to remember. Now with that, we're going to move and talk about the different policies that he started creating. See, one thing that we have to understand is, no matter how evil Hitler was, he did some good things, okay? For the people, the native Germans, the people he believed were the people who deserved to have good in the world, the people who were really Germans according to his definition. Like, he hated Jews, he hated gypsies, he hated black people, because race का बहुत strong idea था, which we'll talk about. But the people he believed who were true Germans and native Germans, for him he did really good action. He took really good actions and brought in policies which really revived and enhanced and changed their life. Coming from what Weimar Republic was doing after the First World War, how much they were struggling, how long they took to fix things. And when you look at what Hitler did, you will clearly be able to see that he had the good intent for those people. He was not a good man. There's nothing good to his actions. But few things that he did really helped Germany to get back at its feet. and in fact re-established. After the First World War it was devastated, it was in the worst financial condition. मतलब इतनी टूट चुकी थी जर्मनी फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद कि कुछ कहा नहीं जा सकता है. वाइमार रिपब्लिक सोचो 1919 से रूल कर रही थी, बट 1933 तक कुछ नहीं कर पाई थी. कोई इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्रेशन नहीं, लोगों के लिए जॉब्स नहीं है, लोग परेशान हैं. बट द मोमेंट हिटलर कम्स इनटू द पिक्चर, इन लोगों की जिंदगी फिक्स होने लग जाती है. ही स्टार्ट्स क्रिएटिंग जॉब्स एंड रीस्टैब्लिशेस, फिर से जर्मनी को सुपर पावर की तरह कहीं ना कहीं लाकर खड़ा कर देते. It would probably not be equal to US or Russia at that time, but the way he brings back Germany, it reestablishes itself so strong that it was ready to start something like World War II, which is a great big deal. So what he does is he realizes that Germany needs a complete revamp. Okay? So he had promised people he'll bring jobs, he'll fix the crisis, and he does. तो अब उन्हें समझ आ जाता है कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद, आफ्टर द ट्रीटी ऑफ वर्सलीज, आफ्टर द ग्रेट डिप्रेशन, आफ्टर ऑल ऑफ दीज प्रॉब्लम्स, ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स जो हो चुकी हैं, इसके बाद ही वाज वेरी क्लियर इन हिज माइंड कि जर्मनी को ठीक करने के लिए हमें बहुत बड़ा कुछ चेंज लाना पड़ेगा. विल हैव टू ब्रिंग अ बिग बिग चेंज. सो ही हायर्स अ स्पेशलिस्ट, एक स्पेशलिस्ट को हायर करते हैं. क्या मुझे मतलब आई हैव आइडियाज बट आई एम नॉट अ स्पेशलिस्ट, आई वुड नॉट एग्जैक्टली नो व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन. मैं स्पेशलिस्ट नहीं हूँ, मतलब मुझे आइडिया है, मेरे दिमाग में इंटेंट है, मेरी नीयत है करने की, विजुअलाइजेशन भी है, बट एग्जैक्टली स्टेप्स क्या लेने हैं maybe I don't know, right? So he hires a specialist, he hires an economist, somebody who had proper knowledge of economics, what the policies should be created, how it should be created, how the situation should be addressed. तुक्का नहीं लगा रहे थे. He starts figuring out that who can fix the problem and then brings that person. So he hires an economist called Abhyaas. ठीक है, तो इस बंदे को हायर करते हैं, इकोनॉमिस्ट है ये. And then he says, I want full production and full employment. Full production से क्या मतलब है? Let's go completely industrial. ठीक है, full on industrialization. पूरा manufacturing sector दोबारा establish करो. It doesn't matter how it was before the World War I, how it was before the Treaty of Versailles. अभी हमें ऐसा figure out करना है, what is that field where we can manufacture? कहाँ पे हम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग शुरू कर सकते हैं? We will start manufacturing there, and the moment we start doing that, jobs will start getting created, people will start working, money will start flowing, and the economy and the country will rebuild. सब वापस अपने आप फिक्स हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो full production, full employment with state funded work creation program, which means everything was going to be organized by the state, by the government. So he's not depending on anybody. He's not increasing taxes. French Revolution mein what did we see? When the king wanted to fix the problem, he was increasing the taxes on the people. कि लोगों के ऊपर टैक्स बढ़ाओ, हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है. Even they had very limited money, right? Money कहाँ से आ जाएगा? After the Great Depression, even they did not have money. इनके पास भी बहुत पैसा नहीं है. But whatever they had, they're creating a plan to utilize that money to create employment so that more money can flow and government will also earn. तो गवर्नमेंट द्वारा पूरी स्पॉन्सर्ड प्रोडक्शन चालू हो जाती है. ठीक है, शाह वाज मेड द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द जर्मन नेशनल बैंक इन 1933. 1933 में इनको जर्मन नेशनल बैंक का प्रेसिडेंट भी बना दिया. That you decide all the policies, how the loans will be given, whether the loans will be given or not, what the interest would be, how the money will flow, everything. ठीक है, बच्चे इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज अभी शुरू ही किया है. आप अपना नाम भी बता दो, लव ऑफ राधे कृष्णा बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है कहने के लिए. बट द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इकोनॉमिकली दैट ही डिड वाज ही हायर्ड एन इकोनॉमिस्ट कॉल्ड Abhyaas, and then he said we will go full with manufacturing. Now we have to understand one thing. एक चीज आपको यहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का importance समझने के लिए जरूरी है. In order to understand the importance of manufacturing, one thing that we have to understand is, guys, whenever a country is in a underdeveloped state, most of its people will be associated with agriculture. ठीक है, क्योंकि टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं चाहिए, नेचर के साथ आप प्राइमरी एक्टिविटी में ज़्यादा इंडल्ज्ड होते हो. When you start, मतलब it could be farming, dairy production, stuff like that, dairy farming, ये सारी चीज़ें करना. ठीक है, the moment you start moving towards development, you start manufacturing more. ठीक है, प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा करने लग जाते हो. द मोर यू प्रोड्यूस, द लेस यू आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन अदर कंट्रीज, एंड देन यू आर ऑल्सो एबल टू ट्रेड विथ अदर कंट्रीज. अब जब ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन करने लग जाते हो तो आपको दूसरे देशों से कुछ सामान खरीदना नहीं पड़ता, इंडिपेंडेंट भी बनते हो और ट्रेडिंग भी कर पाते हो, तो पैसा भी आ पाता है। एंड देन फाइनली जो सबसे ज्यादा डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज है ना, वो टर्जरी सेक्टर में मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन आप देखोगे, उनके सर्विस सेक्टर में मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन वुड बी देयर। Back at that time, tertiary sector was not so grown, not so strong because internet, IT revolution, ये सब चीजें नहीं हुई थी. Basic services देती थी tertiary sector. So manufacturing was where once you got your feet in manufacturing, अगर आप आपकी industries कर लेते हो open, production करने लग जाते हो तो पैसा आने लग जाता है. So he completely, that is why he is focusing on manufacturing, कि पैसा भी आएगा, लोगों को jobs भी मिलेगी. ठीक है? हाँ अंकुश, नया है. ठीक है. तो देन शाह becomes the German National Bank president in 1933 and then he starts designing new policies. अब नई नई चीजें, नए नए plans he starts putting in place. Manufacturing को लेके, infrastructure as in how the construction will happen, how the roads will be created, because roads guys will be the transportation system and the communication system which is going to be very important for enabling manufacturing at another level. रॉ मटेरियल कैसे जाएगा, मार्केट तक कैसे पहुंचेगा, कैसे कम से कम पैसों में ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन होगा, लाइक दैट. ओके, so part of this was state funded job creation program, as we have already understood, which means government had taken this. It included construction of super highways like the autobahn and the creation of Volkswagen, also known as people's car. Volks in German means people, wagon we otherwise also know means car, है ना, कोई भी vehicle basically. तो Volkswagen which exists even today, that was actually established, the company Volkswagen which cars people are buying even in today's date, that is established, that was established by Hitler, actually by Hammarskjöld, the economist who was appointed by Hitler. तो आप देख रहे हो, Germany is known for these two things, you guys. Germany is known for its great road works and highways, the super highways that they build, and they're known for their technology in car building. Ever if you talk to any automobile enthusiast, anybody who has very much interest in cars and all, they will always say that German manufactured cars are the best. So whatever he created of such a stature, of such a nature, that even in today's date, it's considered as the best attribute of Germany. तो जो बनाया सॉलिड बनाया, हाईवेज की कंस्ट्रक्शन शुरू कर दी, तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरली जो है बहुत डेवलप्ड लगने लग गया, जर्मनी कनेक्टेड हो गया, इंटीग्रेटेड हो गया. दे बिल्ड अप दिस कार कंपनी विच वुड ब्रिंग कार्स एट अ वेरी अफोर्डेबल रेट फॉर पीपल. So the idea of, in fact, Beetle नाम की एक कार आती है. Volkswagen has stopped manufacturing it now, but it used to be manufactured, I think, till 2-3-4 years back. It's a very small car. These days, it's one of the most expensive cars. उस scale में दो लोग बैठ सकते हैं. It's only for 2 people. It's a small car, very like toyish looking car. And lately it was being sold at 30 lakhs or something. It became an expensive car, but back at that time, Beetle was created with the idea that every middle class person will be able to buy it. It would be very very cheap. दो लोग अपना बैठकर कहीं भी जा सकते हैं, so that people can travel, they can go to their work. So that is how he established Volkswagen, and then the super highways ka construction also started. So now what will happen? Development will start happening. They will start experiencing development. So that is how he fixed the whole problem of economy of Germany, and it built really really fast. बहुत तेजी से बन गया पूरी इकोनॉमी, लोगों को जो है वो जगह भी मिल गई. ठीक है. इश्की हाय, मतलब आपका नाम पता चल गया है तो ठीक है. ऑफ कोर्स आई लाइक योर नेम, आई लाइक एवरीबडीज नेम, एंड इट्स द नेम ऑफ द प्लेस. बच्चे, मतलब हम बात कर रहे हैं ना हाईवेज वगैरह की, तो उसका एक रेफरेंस है. ओके मैम, पॉलिसीज के बारे में विल वी स्टडी, दीज आर द पॉलिसीज दैट वी आर स्टडिंग, राइट? इफ यू सी, we don't have to go very much in detail about all the policies, Tasha. These are few things that you have to know if you get to write about his contribution in building of the economy. You tell that he was an economist, he was made the president, under his guidance manufacturing and infrastructure flourished. These are your points. These are the 4 points, and the first will be introduction of who he was and what he stood for and how he helped Hitler. Okay. how he used least amount of money in developing the country. We are not saying that he did not use any money. It's about how wisely he used it. देखो ऐसा नहीं है कि पैसा इस्तेमाल नहीं किया. There was limited money is what we have to keep in mind. But whatever money was there, he utilized it very well to create more money. Money से money बनाया. That was a smart move, which a lot of rulers and a lot of governments fail to do. Okay? चलो अब बात करते हैं इकोनॉमी पॉलिसी. हमने इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज वी हैव अंडरस्टूड, वी सॉ हाउ ही रीबिल्ड द इकोनॉमी. Now we'll talk about the foreign policies, how he dealt with other countries, what was his take. So after the First World War, how we have United Nations now, which was created after the Second World War with the intention of maintaining peace worldwide and not letting any third world war happen. Like with Ukrainian and Russian fight, we know third world war had its way coming. We had it coming our way. But UN and a lot of other people played their own role to not let it happen, right? To suppress it. Similarly, after the First World War happened, it was known as the Great War because nobody had ever witnessed anything like the First World War. First World War जैसा कभी भी पहले कभी कुछ हुआ नहीं था. Nobody had witnessed it. So it was known as the Great War. So after that, something called League of Nations was formed. Okay? League of Nations immediately after the First World War was formed. The idea of this was that we will not let any World War II happen. Clearly they failed, and that is why it had to be dissolved, because World War II did happen, right? So in this, the big countries were there. Britain and France were majorly the voice of the League of Nations. They were kind of ruling everything, like how we now know that UN में US का बहुत ज़्यादा power है. US has a lot of power because they fund them and they're one of the superpowers. For all of these reasons, US has a lot of say in whatever UN is doing and everything else. Similarly, back at that time, यहाँ पे Britain and France were taking care of a lot of things in League of Nations. Anyways, so Germany was also a part of it. All the countries were a part of it, especially the ones that had participated in the First World War. So when the League of Nations was formed, Germany became a part of it, stayed a part of it under Weimar Republic. 1933, the moment Hitler takes the control, he's like, this League of Nations is a complete waste of time. They're absolutely and utterly useless. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't believe in their policies. How can there not be a war? How can we not have aggressive policies? ऐसा सोच करके he pulls out. He says, I am not going to be a part of this League of Nations. And he in fact was right? League of Nations was not able to avoid the Second World War. So he pulls out of the League of Nations. ठीक है? Reoccupied the Rhineland in 1936. तो आपको याद होगा that after Treaty of Versailles, Rhineland was taken and Ruhr was also taken. So he says, this is my place. How can you take it away from me? He reoccupies it. How would he reoccupy it? कैसे reoccupy करेंगे? ठीक है? मैम कौन क्या फेल हो गया था बच्चे? इश्की, आई एम नॉट श्योर व्हाट यू टॉकिंग अबाउट. इफ यू टॉकिंग अबाउट द पॉलिसीज, कुछ फेल नहीं हुआ था बच्चे. दीज वर सक्सेसफुल पॉलिसीज, सक्सेसफुल इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो अब ये राइनलैंड कैसे लिया होगा फ्रांस से वापस? थोड़ी तो फोर्स, थोड़ी तो लड़ाई लगाई होगी, थोड़ा तो आर्मी लगाया होगा. एवे ही तो नहीं हो गया होगा कि अच्छा आपने मांगा और मिल गया. दैट वुडंट हैव हैपेंड. दैट नेचुरली डिड नॉट हैपन. Then he went to Austria. Austria was his own country, and Austria was playing with Germany in First World War as well. Austria and Germany have always had strong connection. Prussia for that matter. Prussia और Germany तो बहुत same भी थे. एक time पे they existed as one. So he integrated Austria and Germany in 1938 by saying one people, one empire, one leader. He's like, you're my brother country. We are part of the same family. Our father was same. We are just two different sons, Germany and Austria. So why are we not playing together? Why are we suffering alag-alag se separately? Let's unite together. Give Austria to me. Let it be under my control. Let it be under my supervision. मुझे plan करने दो यहाँ पे क्या करना है. And then under one people, one empire, one leader, Austria and Germany became together in 1938. उसके पहले राइनलैंड भी फोर्स से जमजमा करके कैसे भी करके ले लिया था इन्होंने. ठीक है? Now Hitler began to consider rebuilding German army. If you guys remember, as per Treaty of Versailles ने क्या कहा था? Disarmament of Germany. Germany will have no army so that they can never repeat what they did in the First World War. but he was like, how can that happen? I am all about aggressive policies. I am all about war. मैं तो जाऊंगा, मेरे हक में जो है उसको लेकर आऊंगा. So he started building the German army. He started, now how will you build army? आपको अगर आर्मी बिल्ड करना है तो आपको सबसे पहले क्या चाहिए बच्चे? यू नीड मनी. You need money to pay to your soldiers. You need money to buy arms, ammunitions, the new technological weapons. Army maintain karna is very, very costly. Now we have to recall and remember over here that Germany has just started rebuilding its economy. अभी अभी जो है अब लीग ऑफ नेशन क्यों नहीं रोक पाया वर्ल्ड वॉर 2? अच्छा, बिकॉज दे वर वीक बच्चे, दे वर नॉट गिवन द वैल्यू हाउ यूनाइटेड नेशंस इज गिवन इन टुडेज डेट. They did not have the right policies, the right takes. They didn't know what exactly to do, and people were not listening to them. How we saw that Hitler drew out of it, right? तो ऐसा करके League of Nations की उतनी वैल्यू नहीं थी, उतनी रिकग्निशन नहीं थी. That's why it failed. That is why it was dissolved, and then United Nations was created after Second World War. Coming back. तो पैसे आ गए जर्मनी के पास. ऐसा नहीं है कि विद द कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड विद द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स ऑक्यूपाइंग बैक राइनलैंड, मनी वाज नॉट देयर. अ लॉट ऑफ मनी मे बी वाज नॉट देयर, बट मनी वाज देयर फॉर जर्मनी अगेन. बट आइडियली it shouldn't have been spent if he wanted a very, very long term proper development of Germany. He should have spent more in creating jobs and growing the country. But he was all about army chahiye, because power chahiye. I have to capture the different places. I have to take the revenge. So naturally this economist Hammer Shah, he says don't do it. It's not the correct idea to do it. He was against, especially a large scale military investment. He said fine, if you want to have an army, do it. But don't bring the new modern weapons, have a very, very wide army and try to match up the other countries, because we are still under loan. We still have a long way to go. We should be cautious about our steps. Hitler nahi sunne wala tha. He was not going to listen. He did not listen. And as a result, Shah left him. And in fact, Hitler told him, tu bhag ja yahan se. You go, run away. I don't need you. Okay, leave the country. Your plans are not aligned with mine anymore. You're creating a hurdle. You did what you could do, what you had to do. You can free feel to leave. अब निकलो यहाँ से, ठीक है? संध्या 8 बजे बच्चे, 8 o'clock will have live session. We will start making of global world. तो शायद को बोल दिया जाता है कि अब आपकी कहानी खत्म हो गई, आपका मेरा साथ यही तक था, आप फील फ्री कर सकते हो जाने के लिए. And then Hitler doesn't listen to Shah and chooses warfare as a means of escaping the rising economic crisis. So while the crisis was happening, he was fixing it with his policies and everything else that was happening. But he says power and true resourceful will come when I am aggressive, when I have an army, when I attack people. And warfare is going to be my method and my medium of doing it. So question is, Hammer Shah was Hitler's propaganda minister. Is this true or is this false? Propaganda का minister was he or not? So few students have already answered, because पहले मैंने question दिखा दिया था, so I get it. आपको pop कर गया होगा. सौम्या ने जवाब दे दिया है, स्ताशा और श्याम ने भी दिया है, प्रांजल, शुभ्रा, हर्ष, श्रीकांत बच्चे हैं देने के लिए, और भी बच्चे हैं, I'm sure. Right? There are few more students who are yet to answer the question. So guys, tell me, Hammer Shah was the Hitler's propaganda minister. Is this true or is this false? शुभ्रा, ताशा, तुषांत, श्रीकांत, श्याम, क्या हो गया बच्चे? हर्ष और सौम्या ने सही जवाब दिया है. बिल्कुल बच्चे, ये false है. He was not propaganda minister. He was the economic minister, right? He was an economist. Propaganda क्या होता है? Somebody who spreads your ideas, manipulates people. यानी कि नाजिज्म वाले आइडिया को फैलाने वाला इंसान कौन था? शुरू में एक कहानी पढ़ी है हमने इस चैप्टर में. There is a story given. Do you remember that story? So he was a finance minister, right? The economic caretaker. Goebbels की कहानी हमने पढ़ी है शुरू में. He was Hitler's propaganda minister. Okay? तो यहाँ पे confuse नहीं होना है. Now we'll look at how he starts with his idea of invading different places and taking it under his control. So he's all about taking different places in his control. He's very clear about that. As a result of which he will now invade Poland. तो बच्चे, September 1939, that's where it starts. अभी आप देखो कैसे World War II की शुरुआत हो गई है. He will invade Poland जहां पे विच वॉज गिवन, इफ यू रिमेंबर, फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हुआ था, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट अथॉरिटीज को चीजें दी गई थी. फ्रांस वॉज गोइंग टू बी अंडर कंट्रोल ऑफ दैट, बट ही सेज नहीं, पोलैंड मेरा है, पोलैंड मेरे को चाहिए. पोलैंड पे ही अटैक्स. दैट विल स्टार्ट अ वॉर विथ फ्रांस बिकॉज फ्रांस वॉज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ इट. ठीक है, एंड इंग्लैंड विल कम टू सपोर्ट फ्रांस. सो वी सी 3 countries have already got involved. ठीक है, Germany was against France. France gets supports from Britain, and this is happening in 1939 September. And this is the marking of the Second World War. अभी just शुरुआत हुई है with a small war. Okay. Then what he does is 1940 में Italy guys in the First World War was not with Germany, but in this war it was. तो वहाँ पे जो है आपका एक fascist ruler was here at that time. I will give you guys the homework to find out who was the fascist ruler in Italy at this point, who believed in destruction, war, aggressive policies like Hitler, and that is why he shook hands. ये find out कर लेना. Anyway, September 1940 में what happens? Germany, Italy and Japan, they come together as a team. They decide we will fight together, and they form something called a tri-party pact, which means 3 countries का pact. Japan at this point was what doing? What was it doing? Japan had started getting very aggressive. It had started taking control of the colonies of France, Britain, US, in China and around. ठीक है, इन सारे जगह पे घेरना शुरू कर दिया था जापान ने. तो League of Nations, in order to keep Japan calm, what they had done was said, fine, you do it, but please calm down, we don't want a war. बट ये ट्राई पार्टी एक्ट होता है जिससे हिटलर का इंटरनेशनल पावर बढ़ जाता है. पोलैंड एंड फ्रांस वर क्विकली डिफीटेड एज वेल, right? And the puppet rulers were then set by Nazi Germany. So he's taking control of everything now. And by end of 1940, Hitler had reached the peak of his power, where ruling over vast swaths of the continent is what he was doing. ठीक है, अब हम देखेंगे that how he pokes the bear in the next session, which is Russia. See, he was doing all of this dancing in and around is a different thing. The biggest mistake that he did was poking Russia and triggering everything, because then Russia, the giant, woke up, and then US also joined them, and that is what will ride the fate of Germany and defeat of Hitler. ठीक है, क्लियर है? ओके, तो चलो इसी के साथ let's quickly wind up the session. We have understood what happens in Poland. तो अभी अगला सेशन में guys will look at what happens with Russia and how does it start. Let's quickly and apart from that we'll see that Second World War will unfold. It will bring a chaos. ठीक है, but then why was Hitler so thirsty for land and power? What more can we learn about Nazis, and how did they rule, and how did they secure a future for themselves? That also we'll discuss in the next session. Quickly summarizing, we saw that economy was growing, and state funded infrastructure and manufacturing programs were brought with the help of the economist Hammer Schad. Hitler and Schad decided to build German economy through warfare. Hitler fired Schad because he wanted warfare, and Hammer did not agree. 1936 में Rhineland ले लिया था हिटलर ने. 1938 he annexed Austria also under being, you know, one rule, one leader, one place. 1939 में German speaking regions भी ले लेते चेकोस्लोवाकिया के. And then we will see how the Second World War unfolded in the next session. Please do not forget to register yourself for the upcoming sessions. कल का session नहीं हो रहा है. Tomorrow the session that was scheduled will not happen because Karnataka बंद है. So we won't be able to come to office. Hence, the session for tomorrow will not happen. We will meet on Wednesday. And guys, do not forget to register yourself for the upcoming sessions. Wednesday को जो है आने वाले week में Thursday, Friday, everything. And please make sure to join the Telegram channel, ताकि ये जो ऐसे updates हैं हम वहाँ पे भी देते हैं आपको कि session होगा नहीं होगा, वो भी आपको मिल जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे link भी है, यहाँ पे QR code भी है. And with that, I will wind up the session. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys soon. Till the next time. Have a great evening. Take good care of yourself. Thank you, Sham. Bye-bye and good night.
Keep imbibing. We believe in you.